Aughnasheelin is a small parish located in South Leitrim with a population of approximately 700 people. At the heart of this small parish is the local GAA club. Over the last number of years, the GAA club has been hugely affected by the recession and immigration. St Mary's National School is a small school within the parish. There are approximately 35 students and 4 teachers within the school. St Mary's Church was built in 1843. It was reconstructed in 1967 by Father Hugh Brady. The local community centre was constructed in 1912 and created a local hub for the people of the parish. Nass is one of the many natural beauties of the area, which attracts plenty of visitors during the summer months. The Slieveneer Mountains, which translate into the Iron Ore Mountains, were first mined in 1630 until they closed in 1750. The mines reopened again as coal mines in 1930 until they closed again in 1986.
Behind me is your typical Western style vernacular house, which is built in approximately 1880 by the Gallagher family. There are still residents to this day. It was built using locally sourced stone, thatch and wood. The reasons this is Western in style is the gable end walls and the fact that it's built into the contour of the land. Both of these protect against the element. It was simple in design. It consisted of 3 rooms, 2 bedrooms, 1 living room. In the later years, the attic was converted to create more bedrooms. The first major change occurred in 1961 with the introduction of the electricity. It wasn't until 1969 the most drastic changes occurred. First one was the removal of the thatch and was replaced with slate. The second greatest change was the introduction of water. A number of other changes, which include the extension to the rear of the house, the removal of the whitewash, the original wooden windows were replaced with wooden sash windows. In 1996, the wooden sash windows were replaced with a more modern PVC window and door to increase the living conditions inside the house. Originally, there would have been a half door here, which would have been used to create more light inside the house whilst keeping out poultry and other animals. This was replaced in 1969 with a wooden door, which then in 1996 was replaced with a PVC door. Like most typical Western style vernacular houses, an attached barn would have been built. This was used to house animals at night and during the harsh winter months. Also, it would have been used to house feed for the animals. We can see here, instead of thatch, it was replaced with galvanized sheets. Kitchen in 1969 and the added bonus of running water, life was changed dramatically for my grandmother. In 2009, dampness became a major issue within the house. We were left with the option of let it run into derelict or dryline the entire house. We therefore decided to dryline the house and installed an oil-based central heating system. With such large families in previous years, every space within the house had to be utilised. Therefore, the attic was converted into 2 bedrooms and access was granted via a ladder, which has remained original from 1969. In 2009, we replaced a white Stanley 8 range with a more modern solid fuel stove. He's here to tell us a bit about his time here. Seamus?
Thank you, David. I was born in 1958, the youngest of 9 children in this house. I was the only one born in hospital. The rest of the family were all born at home. Things weren't very plentiful around here at the time. Father farmed a small farm of 30 acres and also worked part-time with Leitrim County Council. In 1969, major renovations were carried out to the house, and also at the time the group water scheme, which was sourced at a small lake in the top of the mountain, was brought to rural aughnasheelin, and it made massive changes in this house. At that time, the thatch was taken off and replaced with slates, as were the windows and doors. The whitewash was taken from the front of the house and was replaced with terraline dash. Also, the open fire was removed, was replaced with a Stanley 8 range, which cost at the time in 1969 £63. The man who later worked in America was the tradesman carrying out the work, and his wages at the time were £2 per day. He was assisted by my father and my 2 older brothers.
And Seamus, tell me, what were the living conditions inside the house like?
Well, with my mother and father and the 9 children here, to say they were cramped is an understatement. The children disappeared upstairs to the 2 rooms at night, and as was tradition in Ireland at the time, the lower room, or the sitting room as other people would call it, was sacred because visitors could arrive at any time.
In preparation for the winter, what was carried out in the summertime?
The fire was mainly kept with turf, which was cut on our own bog, all cut by hand, and also some timber that was cut all by hand. And I can remember my father and my uncle using a cross-cut saw to cut trees.
Vegetables and food as such for yourselves?
My father, God rest his soul, was a fabulous gardener, and he provided potatoes and vegetables for the entire year. Also, oats was grown for the cattle, and on a number of occasions rye was grown for the cattle.
And would the neighbours have helped out much around here? And would you have helped out neighbours?
Neighbours were always mixing in and out to other. If a farmer had a cow that wasn't in milk for the winter, his neighbour, who probably had one, always some farmer in the locality had a cow which milked for the winter, and he supplied any neighbour who had no cow in milk, and that was the tradition of the time.
What animals would you have had on the farm, Seamus?
Well, there was a donkey for bringing home the turf, there was a horse for doing the heavy farm work, there was cows, 6 cows milked by hand, sent to the creamery in Ballinamore. It was brought by Johnny Mahan with a horse and cart. There was 2 sows kept, and their pigs were sold at 12 weeks of age. Turkeys were reared for the Christmas market. Hens and chickens were kept, and the eggs were sold in what was known at the time in Rantoke Store.
And tell me, Seamus, there's a river running through the land. Was it of importance to you? The river running through the land. Was it of importance to you?
It was of vital importance because during the dry summer months, cattle were allowed access to the river. And also, along the river was a well, and that was, my mother and father visited that daily before the water scheme was brought here to supply the house with water.
And would you have fished much in that river?
We did, without much success unfortunately, but my father was a dab hand with a fly fishing rod, which every Sunday he went to fish after first pass, and if he was lucky, we had fish for part of the week anyway.
What was their social life like?
Well, there'd be one or two caddies in the local communities in the aughnasheelin Hall, and also there was an annual bazaar which went on for 2 weeks, 3 nights a week, and during the winter months neighbours visited one house and another during the week.